Hey y'all, welcome to Chit Chat Cafe. I am so thankful that you are here and that you're joining us today. I hope that everyone has enjoyed the episodes where Josie spotlighted her mom and Nubia spotlighted her mom. And now it's my turn to spotlight my mom. I'm so excited. So I hope that you enjoy this episode as I speak a little bit about my mommy and bring up a sticky situation. So now sit back and enjoy the chit chat. Yay! So I currently don't have coffee because I literally just drank coffee. I went to Crude, a coffee shop, and it smells so good. If you've never given yourself time to, step away from the drive-through coffee places, you should totally look into a coffee shop that you can sit in and enjoy a nice cup of coffee with a little pastry. It smells so good. I had an amazing cup of coffee and it was just perfect. It wasn't bitter. It was absolutely perfect. And they called it Texas Stormy coffee, and it had oat milk in it, and they drew this beautiful flower with hearts on it. So I really enjoyed my cup of coffee. And as I was drinking my cup of coffee, I was thinking about my episode, and I was just getting excited because it is so hard to think of something that is not going to make you as a viewer feel like we're wasting your time. We hope that every time you chime in to Chit Chat Cafe, you leave with something good, something to think about, something that you're like, that was good. That is our hope. That is our mission. So I just enjoyed that cup of coffee. So if you have time, if you live in the Fort Worth area, there are so many good coffee shops out there. So take your time, look them up. There's plenty to choose from. So here we go. We're going to spotlight a little bit about mamas because we're still in the month of May. So I am just loving that mom, there's quite a few of Mom and Me shops, that they're called like Mom and Me or Me and My Mini Me, where you get to wear like the same clothes, you get to wear the same, little shirt. There's music. It's pretty interesting. And I had a moment and I was talking to my mom, and that wasn't really common when she was a mom, not only culturally, but just in the time of the time and era that she was in, that wasn't seen a lot, so it's pretty interesting how everything keeps evolving. And sometimes we can get stuck in a certain time period and not evolve. And it's not that we're left behind, but you start to feel that disconnect. And so I just want to share this little thing that I want to encourage you to think. If you're a mom and you're watching this, it says traits of a healthy mother-daughter relationship. They acknowledge each other as individuals and spend a healthy time, neither not too much nor too little. The mother-daughter duo recognizes and respects boundaries. They make reasonable commitments to each other and come through on them. Now, I'm challenging you as a mom, as well as for myself. I took it as, okay, am I building this with my daughter, right? Because she's 10. It almost feels like we're always together, right? Because she's still so young. But I feel like setting those healthy boundaries, where she has an opinion, is where I can create that not too much, not too little time. So with that, I want to spotlight my mommy, and I just want to share some things that my mom says that maybe your mom says. If she's Latina, she probably says these things. If she's not Latina, hey, drop a comment. I want to know what your mom might say. Or she said when you were younger and you still remember. So my mom says some things like, mientras vivas en esta casa, se hace lo que yo digo. Right? While you live under my house, you're going to do what I say. Okay? It's funny because I think that rule still applies, even though I don't live there, right? Another thing that she would say when I was growing up, cuéntale a tu papá lo que hiciste. Okay, all right, and it was with this, it's not a direct translation, but it was like, okay, go tell your dad what you just did, I don't have time to get on to you right now, but go tell your dad and he's going to take care of it. And then I would tell my dad and my dad would be like, oh, okay, right? That's probably a lot of dads and their daughters. Síguele, right? She'd be like, okay, come on, keep going, I'll see you. In other words, she'd be like, okay, I see you, right? ¿Ya arreglaste tu cuarto? Did you already clean up your room? Did you already make your bed? Did you already, pick up your toys? Todo te entra por una oreja y te sale por otra, right? Whatever I say goes in one ear and out the other. She still says that to this day to me. Let's see, another one. Te voy a dar una razón para que llores. En serio. Okay, you want me to give you a reason to really cry? Okay, come here. Let's see, what's another one? Llévate el suéter. Oh, my Lanta, llévate el suéter. And I remember, it's like 90 degrees outside. And I don't want to take my sweater. And she'd be like, llévate el suéter. And then once I got to school, I'm like, I'm so thankful she told me to take my sweater. Because usually it was cold inside, the class. Algún día me lo agradecerás, right? One day you're going to be thankful. One day you're going to tell me thanks for this. Nomás quieres estar en el teléfono. You just want to be on your phone. Like, that's all you want to be. ¿Para dónde van los mentirosos, right? She's like, where do the liars go? And it's like, I'm not sure, Mom. I don't know about that one. But these are some things that I remember. I can still hear her voice, telling me these things as I was growing up. And it's funny because I will never forget it. Even the little, when she would do her little high pitch voice or her sweet tone, I could still hear it. And it's funny because I had a conversation with her not too long ago, like, Mom, I would like to know what you wanted to be when you got older. Like, did you ever get to that dream? Because my mom, she comes from a small family. She doesn't have a lot of siblings, but she wanted a lot of children. And it feels like when she sits and talks about her life growing up, she didn't have time for herself because she had so many kids. Now, I'm the baby of 8. My parents have, altogether 8 children, and I'm the baby of 8. And by the time I grew up to understand, lifestyles and okay, this is a lot of children, my siblings were already way older than me, and I never understood it. And so, she told me, yeah, I just had two dreams when I was young. she goes, one, I knew that I wanted a big family. And she goes, and two, I actually wanted to be a professional tango dancer, which was surprising because, I've never seen my mom dance. Like, I mean, there's moments where she's silly here and there, and her and my dad will, dance. But I've never seen my parents like, oh, we're going to go on a date. We're going to go dance. We're going to go do. And so for me to hear that, it was surprising. I was like, wow, like that's pretty cool that my mom, wanted to do that. And in her checklist, in her way, she was like, I got two, I got one out of the two things that I really wanted, and I think that I got, the one that my heart most desired, which was to be a mom and have so many kids. And I'm thankful for my siblings. Like, they really, I get to learn a lot from them. And my mom, she's taught me so much just through seeing her, go through life, and like the things that she shares. It's amazing to see like the positives of my mom. She has so many, but I think I want to share some of the things that stand out the most. She loves hard. And when I mean she loves hard, like she's one of those people that will, do anything and everything. Like, I remember her making food for one of my brothers when he was working, night shifts. And my mom, would go and drive during his lunch break to drop off this food. Um, she stands up for her family. Like, you can see like that just pride, like, this is my family, like, this is us, this is them, this is their success. And it's beautiful because unfortunately I have seen a lot of moms that don't really talk about their children, right? That don't have that relationship to love, to be able to love for many reasons. Maybe for things that they've gone through in life. I mean, I understand. But one thing that my mom does is she loves hard. Another thing that she does is she always tries to go above and beyond. Always. There's times that she's just like, you know, I remember what's their favorite food. I remember what's their favorite drink. I remember what's their favorite, color. And she always tries to incorporate those things. I'll never forget being, in high school, and my mom knew that there used to be a store called Winn-Dixie here in Fort Worth. They don't exist anymore. Winn-Dixies don't exist anymore. And they used to sell this so yummy broccoli cheese casserole. And it was my favorite, most favorite thing to eat. And she knew that that's what I liked. And so there was times that she would get some and she would leave it at home, so that when I would get off of school, I would get home and she would leave it at the table, and she would write a note like, enjoy. I bought you this earlier. And so that's what I mean. She goes above and beyond. And that's something my mom still to this day, it's obvious, okay? Like, she hasn't changed. She's thoughtful. She's most definitely thoughtful. It's funny because I remember my mom before texting, and I remember my mom now that she knows texting. And it's sweet because before texting, it was like she would call, and and I'm sure my siblings can share their own little stories, but she would call to say good morning, call to check on you. If you didn't answer, she would leave a little voicemail. And now she'll send a text. Good morning, how are you? How's your day? Did you get home okay? So it's so sweet. And sometimes in the morning she knows that I'm struggle being a morning person sometimes, and so she'll send like, hey, don't forget it's time to wake up. So I'm pretty sure you might have a mom that's thoughtful like that. She always puts her husband and her kids first, and that's my mom. Like, she always puts my dad and my siblings and I first. Like, there's nothing else that she would want, but that's what she does. She always puts us first, and in that, I feel like she would sometimes forget about herself or put herself last. But if it came to food or something specific like that, she would always feed everyone else and then she would eat, right? Or she would always make sure everyone's asleep and then she would put herself to bed, and that's just her. And even still to this day, she does that. She's a creature of habit. Like, she does things it's almost like a clock. Like, they never. I can look at my watch. I can look at my phone and say, "Oh, I know what she's doing right at this moment," and that's just her. She's a creature of habit, and she goes to the same places. She goes to the same stores. She drives through the same streets. Like, there's no changing. I could probably park somewhere and wait at a certain time and know that she's going to pass by during that time. And it's pretty neat to be able to do that, especially in a world that's constantly evolving, and she stays to her little area. So with those positives, obviously, comes, the negatives. At the same time that she loves hard, she dislikes hard. Right? If for some reason, someone did anything to her babies, right? If someone, hurt her babies, oh, that's it. She would cut them off. Like, they're not best friends to her anymore. She doesn't want to hear their names. And that's just her. Okay. She might not take time and age into consideration when she's trying to go above and beyond. Like, something that I used to like when I was young, it's like, oh, thanks, Mom. Like, I'm a mom now, I'm a wife. Like, that's not my favorite anymore, but I won't dare to tell her and break her little heart, because she still feels like that's her way of going above and beyond. At the same time that she's thoughtful, she gets hurt sometimes. In her way of being thoughtful, there's sometimes that she puts her emotions out there. And just like everyone, we all get hurt, right? We all get hurt when we put our emotions out there. It's a risk that we all take, especially when we're trying to love. It's a risk that we put ourselves out there. Let's see. At the time that she puts her husband and her kids first, this is the opposite of it. She loses herself. Like, I wish that my mom would have been able to continue that dream of, becoming a tango dancer. Like, how awesome would that have been, to be able to say my mom reached her goal, of wanting to be a tango dancer. And it's like pretty cool, to think that she even had that dream of one day, doing the little clippity clap, thing that they do, and she didn't get to do that because she put her life on hold. She put her dreams on pause to make sure that not only my dad, but my siblings and I had everything that we needed and everything that we wanted. So, a creature of habit. She doesn't like to try anything new. So if there's like a new drink, if there is like a new restaurant, it's like, well, I don't know, do they sell this and or do they sell that? And so I'm like, oh, let's just be spontaneous one day, but she won't. She likes what she likes and she knows what she likes. So that's my mom. Like, my mom is this tiny little thing, and she is strong. She has gone through some really hard things in her life, and she has not had maybe the most beautiful life. I'm not sure. I haven't asked her, but she's taught me so much. And there's this saying that I would say when I was young, only when she was getting on to me. It's funny because I don't think I ever said it when she did something good, like, oh, I want to be like that. But when I was young, I would always say, oh, I'm never going to do that to my kids, or I'm never going to say that to my kids when I have kids. And this is when I was like in middle school. And now I understand. I understand why she would say certain things or do certain things or act certain ways. I get it. So I just love my mom so much. Me, mommy, me, mommy, me, mommy. She may never see this episode, because she's doesn't really understand YouTube, and that's okay. It's not, her upbringing, obviously. But that's okay. If you have a mom and she, obviously you have a mom, because if not, you wouldn't be here, duh. But if she's still around, make sure you take time to say, Mom, I love you, or thank you, and thank her for something specific. I think it's nice to be able to do that to our moms and surprise them in those moments. And so I challenge you to do that today. So I'm gonna bring a sticky situation, and there's this little quote that I wrote, and it says, I don't want to be my mom, but in so many ways I already am her. And I mean, I know there's probably family watching this and they're like, what? I'm going to go tell mom. Hold on just a second. Don't go tell her yet. Just wait until you watch the whole episode. It's not so much in a negative way. My mom has taught me so much without sitting me down and saying, hey, I'm going to teach you a lesson or two. She's taught me so much, and sometimes we forget as moms that there's little people watching us. There's little people watching us, how we act, how we talk, how we take in information. And so I just want to not only challenge you, but challenge myself to always remember that we have others that are watching us. And so these are a few things that I've learned. I want to make sure truth is always rewarded first and consequences are second. Now, it might be a cultural thing, but sometimes even when you share the truth, it's hard to. First of all, it's hard to come and share the truth, and then when you do, it's hard to give like a reward for it. But one thing that I'm challenging myself is to always remember that, the truth is always hard to share it, but at the same time it should be rewarded for sharing it. And so I challenge myself always, and I try to tell my daughter, but not only my daughter, like even like friends around me, like, tell me the truth, like, because that's what's gonna grow us. And in that moment of being a mom, it's like I want to make sure that if my daughter always, comes to me and tells me the truth, even if it's a hard truth, even if it's a truth about myself and not so much of something that she did, because there should be those types of communications as well. To always stop and listen before giving a consequence for whatever the situation may be. So if you're a mom and you have little ones coming to you, telling you the truth, take a deep breath with me, right? Take a deep breath and think, okay, they could have chosen not to tell me the truth, right? And found out through someone else, or maybe when it's too late. But they came to me, they told me the truth. Let's reward that. And by that, I don't mean like you have to go and, buy a car or, give $100. But just like the simple words of, thank you for telling me the truth because you didn't have to, right? Thank you for telling me the truth goes a long way. It goes a long way. And so, and then the consequences. Okay, you know what? You said the truth. I'm proud of you, but we're still going to have to face this. We're still going to have to do this because regardless, when we do something good or bad, we always have consequences, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. So they're still going to be there, So let's take a breath with that. Okay. Number two would be, nurture independence. One thing that I'm learning through life and through being a mom is nurturing independence. And it's so hard because life can take so many turns, and I feel like I'm learning that as an adult now, is how to be independent and how to make sure that I'm strong and to make sure that I can pass that along. Like, yes, you can depend on people for certain things, and obviously you can depend on the Lord for what you need, but make sure that you can walk in your independence. So if you're a mom, nurture that independence. I know that sometimes it's hard, and it's easier for us to do for our kids because sometimes, let's be honest, it saves time, right? Other times, maybe even heartache. But through independence, a lot of growth is taken. And so that's another thing that I am learning without being taught, right? Sit down. Let me teach you about independence. It's important. It's important, especially if we have daughters. Don't limit myself. That's another thing that I'm learning without being sat down and, hey, this is what you need to do. And so don't limit yourself. Like, if you feel a dream, write it down so it can become a goal. If you write it down, then it's easier to be able to start looking at what steps are needed to make sure that you can reach that goal and be able to cross it out of your to-do list or your bucket list or your dreams and goal list, So don't limit yourself just because you have kids, just because you are married, or you're a single mom, because there's, shout out to all my single moms. Don't limit yourself. Where there's a will, there's a can, right? And I know I changed that, but I like to modify things. Another thing that I've learned is forgiveness is key. That's a hard one. That is a hard one because I have personally seen what unforgiveness can do to a person, and it is not fun. It is not fun. So if you're a mom and you are walking around with unforgiveness, let it go, girl. Let it go. I know that I don't know the situation that you went through. I don't know the words that you were told. I don't know the expressions that you have to take in daily. I get that. And if you're not in a safe place, then please reach out for safety. Like, there are so many avenues for it. Be strong, be courageous. You can do it. But if it's more about like things that you've gone through, situations with people, with, friends, relationships, let it go, because I promise you, those people have probably already forgot. They forgot about the whole situation, and we're still holding on to it, and it's not fun. So I urge you to just let it go. Let it go. And if you're a man and watching this, the same thing goes for you. Let it go. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth to give someone so much power. And when you are not forgiving to that person, they hold that power over you. And so just let it go. Another thing is enjoy life. Enjoy life. As a mom, sometimes it's hard to really sit back and enjoy life. It's those moments where you're like, I'm tired of changing diapers, right? To, I'm tired of taking the kids everywhere and no one's helping me. To, I'm tired of seeing things not change. We keep talking about communication and it's not working. It's like, take those moments in, because there's so many other women out there that wish they were moms and they can't, right? They can't be moms. So enjoy life and try to find the positive in each day. Try to take a moment to breathe and say, okay, parenting is hard. Yes, amen. It is hard, but at least I get to do it, right? Try to find those positives, and it will change your day. There's a quote that I wrote, and I shared it not too long ago with my circle because of another topic that we were talking about. But I think it's good for this moment as well. It says, knowledge is not understanding. Understanding comes through experience, and knowledge should be used as a guide to truth. Momo. Now, parenting has to constantly evolve towards positive wisdom with the foundation of my morals and my beliefs in the Lord. Now, with that said, where it says knowledge is not understanding, I am a mom, but that doesn't mean that I understand exactly what my child is going through. Why? Because life has changed. Movies have changed. Music has changed. Culture has changed. Clothing has changed. Even just people have changed. And so my knowledge of life is not understanding of her specific time that she's going through. And so understanding comes through experience. Now, I'm going to understand, I'm going to gain an experience because I am going through life with my daughter. So what does that mean for all of us moms that have children? Let's make sure that we take a step back and that we're not so quick to say, nope, that's wrong. That's not how you should do it. It should be like this. Nope, you shouldn't do the right? Let's hold on, right? Obviously, you're going to know what's better for your child. I'm just giving you my personal experience as a mom. Let's take a deep breath and let's learn the understanding through their experience. And that doesn't mean that we don't get to guide them, but our knowledge of life, our knowledge of heartbreak, our knowledge of, going through those emotions in life, that's how we get to guide them. That's when we get to come in and parent. That's when we get to come in and shine as moms. We get to take that moment and say, okay, Now, this is my knowledge, right? And for me, I always go back to the Bible. I mean, that is my guide. Whatever you use, it's like that's the moment we get to share our knowledge with our children. And so let's just try to continue to evolve as moms, because we never want to not equip our children to conquer this world. It's so hard. There's so much ugliness out there. That I feel like every moment that we get with them is so that we can share our knowledge with them, but through their understanding, right, of life and their experiences. And then we get to share our knowledge as moms. Not we get to share our knowledge as moms, and then hopefully it fits through their experiences in life. And so let's take advantage of that. Let's take advantage of those moments, because being a parent is hard. Being a mom is just hard. And sometimes I feel like there's days that you don't feel like you're winning a lot. But just take a moment to just breathe. And just like my mom, Mami, I love her so much, and she's taught me so much through her life. She's taught me so much through her experiences, and even to the point where I watch her, and she doesn't even have to say, "Hey, I want you to learn this life lesson." It's just me watching her and stepping back. And I feel like we deserve, as moms, to not lose ourselves. The moment that we lose ourselves as moms, it's almost like we don't gain that knowledge to pass down to our daughters when they become moms, when they become wives, or to our sons when they become husbands, when they become dads. It is important for us to keep those things in mind. So with that said, let me read it one more time. Knowledge is not understanding. Understanding comes through experience, and knowledge should be used as a guide to truth. #Momo. So I hope that you enjoyed the spotlight about my mommy and how amazing she is, but also that you were able to take something from the sticky situation that I shared today. I cannot wait to be back with my girls. I miss them so much. I miss our laughs and our interaction. So stay tuned. Thank you for following us on this journey. It's just continued growth that we see. We hope that you see it as well. Please, like, comment, subscribe, follow. In our Instagram, we have our link tree with all our info. Our YouTube, check out our YouTube channel. We're just trying to spread some positivity as we chit chat and drink some coffee. If you haven't drank coffee, go get your cup. It's not too late to end your day with a nice cup of coffee. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We could only do this because of you. All right. Hasta la next chit chat. Bye.